I am making a Rocket deck profile. I've tested this deck ever since the new cards from Burst of Destiny got released, and I really like how it works. But I mainly just like it because I read Bayonet Punisher and thought this card's amazing. So I rebuilt Rocket, and it took me a while because I had absolutely none of it by the time Burst of Destiny got released. So starting off with the monsters, I play the one copy of Rocket Synchron. When this card is normal summon, you can target one level 5 or higher Dark Dragon in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position and negates effects and destroy it during the end phase. And then it locks you into Dark monsters, which is fine because every monster in this deck that you would summon is Dark. Then I play the one copy of Auto Rocket Dragon. All of the Rocket Dragon, or all of the rockets that have Dragon in their name share the end phase effect of if they were destroyed, summon another rocket from your deck with a different name. But and they all share an effect of when they get targeted by a Link monster, they self-destruct, and then they have their own unique effects that trigger in response to that. So Auto Rocket will self-destruct and then take an opponent's spell card with it, non-targeting or destroying, just send an opponent's spell or trap. Then I play 3 copies of Rocket Tracer. Rocket Tracer has the effect of being a quick effect. You can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon another rocket monster from your deck other than Rocket Tracer. And then you're locked into Dark monsters. You can only use the effect of Rocket Tracer once per turn. So, fun fact, when this card was first released and I played Rocket, I did not realize it did not specify the position. I always thought it had to be in defense. And I've actually lost a couple of games because I didn't summon a monster in attack. Then I play 2 copies of Rocket Caliber. Rocket Caliber is a free summon if it's summoned to a zone a Dark Link monster points to. So if you have something like Striker Dragon or Quad Boreal Dragon in the main monster zone, and it's not pointing to anything, you can just special summon a Rocket Caliber to its zone. And you can only special summon Rocket Caliber once per turn that way. And then has the ability of you contribute it, special summon one Dark Dragon or Machine monster from your hand. That effect is never used in this version of the deck. But I am working on a different version that actually tries to play... I can't remember what it's called now, but it was it was the only non-dragon monster that the character who played this deck played in the anime. I just can't remember what it was called. I just remember it was a level 8 Dark Machine with 3,000 attack, 0 defense. It was unaffected by opponent's monster effects that have equal or lower attack points. Then I play 3 copies of Magna Rocket Dragon. Magna Rocket has the unique effect of when it's targeted by a Link monster, it self-destructs and then sends an opponent's monster to the grave. Then I play 2 copies of Silver Rocket Dragon. Silver Rocket's unique effect is if it's targeted by a Link monster, it then gets to look at your opponent's extra deck. Or it self-destructs, you look at your opponent's extra deck, and then I don't remember if it's banish or you send it to the graveyard. Okay. Yeah, banish. You look at your opponent's extra deck, choose one card among it, and banish it. Then I play 2 copies of Absorata Dragon. I would play 3 of this in this deck, but I only have the 2, so it works for now, at least. But Absorata has the effect of if you control a rocket monster, it's a free summon once per turn. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, you can then search your deck for one rocket monster. Then I play the 1 copy of Explode Rocket Dragon. I like this card just because if it's targeted by a Link monster, it self-destructs and deals 2,000 damage to both players. So if you get your opponent below 2,000 and then target this with something like Boral Sword or Borload, it then self-destructs and then takes your opponent with it. Then for the hand traps, I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Spring, just because it says no to anything that would summon from deck, send from deck to grave, or add a card from deck to hand. Moving on to the spells, I play 2 copies of Rapid Trigger. Rapid Trigger lets you fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck by destroying fusion materials listed on it from your field, but it can only attack monsters summoned from the extra deck, but it's also unaffected by the activated effects of monsters summoned from the extra deck. You can only activate one rapid trigger per turn. Then I play 2 copies of Squib Draw. Squib Draw lets you target one rocket monster you control and then destroy it, and if you do, draw 2 cards. You can only activate one Squib Draw per turn. Then I play 2 copies of Bayonet Punisher. Bayonet Punisher allows you to apply its effects in sequence depending on the different types of Boral monsters you control or in your graveyard. But if you control a monster with 3,000 or more attack, your opponent cannot respond to it. But if you have a fusion, you banish one monster your opponent controls. Synchro, banish 3 random face down cards from your opponent's extra deck face up. Then Xyz, banish 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. And then Link, banish 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard. You can activate 1 Bayonet Punisher per turn. And the other thing I like about this deck is that it can just spit out Boral monsters for no reason whatsoever. Each and every turn, I can make at least 2 Boral monsters. Typically, though, it's not Link, so that's an issue. Then I play 2 copies of Dragon's Mirror. This just lets you fusion summon a Dragon Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials from your field or graveyard. Play 2 copies of World Legacy Guard Dragon. I forgot the name of the card for some reason. But when it's activated, you let you target 1 level 4 lower dragon in your graveyard, add to your hand or special summon it, and then once per turn you can target 1 dragon monster you control, and then move it to another monster zone that is not, move it to another main monster zone that's unoccupied. So with this, if you have to, you can just move the Striker Dragon to a main monster zone, then have an open zone for especially on Rocket Caliber. Then I play 3 copies of Forbidden Chalice. I like Chalice over Effect Veiler in this deck just because you can activate during either player's turn instead of just your opponent's main phase. So what I like with this is against Dino, when they go to attack everything, I will activate Forbidden Chalice on Ultimate Conductor Tyranno so that it can't just send things and attack everything. It just helps to survive in cases like that. Then I play 3 copies of Quick Launch. This is just an emergency teleport for rocket monsters, which I think is dumb because you can just go special summon Explode Rocket. But most people don't play Explode Rocket anyway, so. Then I play 3 copies of Boot Sector Launch. This card has 2 effects where you can only use 1 of the 2 effects per turn. 1, if your opponent has more monsters than you can special summon rocket monsters from your graveyard with different names equal to the surplus. So your opponent has 6 monsters, but you only have 2. This will let you bring back up to 4 different rockets from your graveyard. They do have to do different rockets, right? Yes. And then its other effect lets you summon 2 rocket monsters with different names from your hand and defense position. Also, the effect of all rocket monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense, but that's fine because most of the time you're attacking with Borals. And to finish off the main deck, I play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Just because if you control no cards, you can activate it from your hand to target an opponent's effect monster, negate its effects, and if it was activated from the spell and trap zone, then it negates all spells and traps in the same column as it for the turn. That is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Striker Dragon. I would play this at 3, but when I built the deck, I realized Striker Dragon was at 1, so oh well. But with Striker Dragon's Link summoned, it lets you search for Boot Sector Launch. And then it also has the effect of lets you target 1 face-up monster you control 1 rocket in your graveyard, destroy the monster you targeted, and then summon the other monster. So this can just be another thing you can use to target your rockets to trigger their effects. Then I play 3 copies of Quad Boral Dragon. This card's actually kind of funny at times, with its effect being you can discard one card, then target one face-up link monster on the field. You get locked into dark dragons or dark monsters from the extra deck, but you then get to destroy that link monster and then summon rocket monsters with different names from your graveyard equal to or up to its that monster's link number. So you can use this to target an opponent's Boral sword and then destroy it, and then summon 4 rockets from your graveyard. Don't know why I use Boral sword, but it's the first thing I thought of. Then I play the 1 copy of Boral Code Dragon. This card is another card I really liked about the new cards from Burst of Destiny. Just because I have yet to summon it, so my bad. I've only read the card. But it has the effect of this card cannot be destroyed by card effects with a link to a monster. So I like using this with another topologic monster that's in the deck, just to destroy all my opponent's main monster zone, or all monsters in my opponent's main monster zone, but leaving this unharmed. Then at the start of the damage step, if this card's link summoned using 3 monsters as material, battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy all monsters on the field. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, banish 1 dark monster or 3,000 or more attack from the field, and if you do, special summon 1 topologic monster from your extra deck or graveyard. So I like this because it's just an out to Dragoon. Because by the time I've done that, it dies and it's like, oh no. Guess I'll just banish this to send Dragoon to the grave. But unfortunately, Phoenix Enforcer is only a whopping 2,500. So unless there's something in play that increases the attack points of Phoenix Enforcer, this isn't going to be very good there. Then I play 1 copy of Topologic Trisbana. Trisbana has the effect of if a monster is special summoned to a zone it points to, it then banishes that monster and all spells and trap cards in play, and then you burn your opponent for 500 points of damage for every spell and trap that was banished. So I like this just because it's a Harpy's Feather Duster that also or it's a Heavy Storm that burns. Not Harpy's Feather Duster. Then I play the 1 copy of Topologic Bomber Dragon. Bomber Dragon is what I was talking about before with Boral Code Dragon. Because it has the effect of if another monster is special into a zone, this link monster points to a link zone a link monster points to while this monster is on the field. Destroy all monsters in the main monster zone. And then if it destroys a monster in battle, your opponent takes damage equal to that monster's attack points or original attack points. Then I play 1 copy of Beauregard Dragon. Beauregard Dragon cannot be destroyed by card effects, which has actually mattered at times with back when I was playing this deck against decks like Grand Magi when they'd activate Golden Castle of Stromberg, because this can still attack because it can't be destroyed by card effects. But it also has the effect of once per turn, you can send 1 card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard, special summon from either graveyard to your field 1 monster that was destroyed and sent to the graveyard this turn, but negates effects. So I also like this because of how it can summon back your opponent's Phoenix Enforcer just by getting rid of a card. And then it has the quick effect of targeting a monster on the field, change it to face up defense position, and your opponent can activate cards or effects in response to that. So I just like it because of if you can summon it in the same turn a Phoenix Enforcer effect goes off, you can just send a card from your hand to the grave and summon that Phoenix Enforcer to your field, and you're done dealing with Phoenix Enforcer. Then I play the 1 copy of Borlo Dragon. Borlo Dragon can just target 1 monster on the field as a quick effect to weaken it by 500. It cannot be targeted by your opponent's monster effects, which I really don't like. That it's just your opponent. It just can't be targeted by monster effects. I wish it was just can't be targeted by card effects. But it then has the effect if it battles a monster at the start of the damage step, you can take control of that monster and summon it to a zone that Borload points to. and then your opponent can't respond to its 500 attack weaken effect. Then, to finish off the Link monsters, I play one copy of Boral Sword Dragon. This card can not be destroyed by battle. It can target one monster on the field, change it to defense position, and then Boral Sword can make its second attack during the battle phase, or during the battle phase of that turn. And your opponent can activate cards and effects in response to it. And then if it battles an opponent's monster, once per turn, it can steal half of that monster's attack points. Then, moving on to the Xyz monsters, I do play the one copy of Borload X Charge. I only ever make this in the event that I need to use the Bayonet Punisher for its ability of banishing a spell or trap your opponent controls. So typically I'll make this in order to out cards like Mystic Mine. But its effect isn't that good because it just lets you bring back a Boral monster from your graveyard, but its effects are negated and it's banished during the end phase. Then I play the one copy of Savage Dragon. Savage Dragon has the effect of when it's synchro summoned, you can target one link in your grave, equip it to it. It gets Boral counters equal to that monster's link rating, and as well as half of the equipped monster's attack points. And then it's just a generic negate by removing a counter. Then I play two copies of Borload Furious Dragon. Furious Dragon is what you will always summon off a rapid trigger, but it has the effect you basically has a Phoenix Enforcer-esque effect. You can target one monster on your field and one card on your opponent's, destroy both. But with the effect of rapid trigger, Furious Dragon can't be destroyed by its own effect. It also has a great effect, but it never comes up. Then, just to finish off the deck, I play the one 5-headed dragon for Big Dragon that can only die to Light or Divine in battle. But that is it for my Rocket deck profile. If you have any ideas of what I can do to improve the deck, any decks you'd like to see be made, or decks you'd like to see face each other, feel free to comment those below. Thanks for watching.